Justice Department accused Microsoft of violating last week's antitrust ruling. It is the second time in 2 months that the department has asked that Microsoft be held in contempt of court and fined $1 million for every day it violates the order. Today, a federal judge scheduled a hearing for arguments regarding these charges. Steve Ballmer is Microsoft's executive vice president, and he joins us now to talk about the latest developments in this rapidly evolving battle. There's also been an announcement, which we'll talk about later, about an addition from outside counsel on the Justice Department side if there is a potential litigation. Steve, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Bring me up to date as to where Microsoft is in this conflict and what we can expect to happen now.
Well, there's been a set of actions, certainly in court, where the Justice Department has asked for certain things to happen. We certainly think it's an important point that we be able to continue to innovate, to add value, to integrate new functionality for our customers in Windows. So we've pushed back. The judge last week gave us fairly explicit instructions on what he'd like to see us do, at least until he can learn more about the case. He has asked us to give our hardware vendor, PC maker customers some options. We listened to the judge and made that clear to our customers this week, and apparently now the Department of Justice doesn't like what they asked the judge to order us to do.
Well, it seems that a federal judge who scheduled a January 13th hearing for arguments on whether you're in contempt of court in the lawsuit.
Well, the issue of contempt, I think, is really an issue of whether or not we have done what we were ordered to do. That's the contempt issue. I think what happened here, we have always contended that Internet Explorer is an integrated piece of Windows. The judge ordered us to remove Internet Explorer, all of the files of Internet Explorer. We did that as the judge ordered, and now the product doesn't work quite the way the Department of Justice thought it would, which I think really makes the point we were making up front, that this is an integrated product. We certainly had no option but to listen to and literally comply with what the judge asked for in his order.
At a status hearing today, Jackson said a courthouse technician showed him this week how to remove the Internet Explorer program from Windows 95, a process he said took less than 90 seconds. Windows 95 functioned flawlessly without the Explorer software as it was intended to operate, Judge Jackson said.
My guess is, Charlie, that what the courthouse technician did is about the same thing that Netscape is suggesting people do from their website. And if you do what that procedure indicates, you wind up removing about 3% of Internet Explorer. And the judge was very direct in the order. He told us for this preliminary period, we need to allow the OEM to remove all of the files of Internet Explorer. And I suspect what happened at the courthouse today was about the same. A very small percentage of the Explorer rather was removed.
So you are saying you cannot and we cannot remove the Internet Explorer software because it's integrated into Windows 95 without leaving the computer manufacturer, Compaq or whoever they may be, with an inadequate and flawed Windows 95 operating system.
If you remove all of the files of Internet Explorer, which is what the judge asked us to do, you get the result, you get a product that is not very valuable. Of course, I think most of the hardware manufacturers are simply going to continue to offer Internet Explorer as a bundled piece of the operating system, which is what certainly they've told us, Compaq, Hewlett-Packard, Dell, and many of our other good partners.
They are saying to you what? That they're going to continue to offer Windows 95 with the Internet Explorer?
Right. The judge didn't require them to not offer Internet Explorer as an integrated piece. He just asked us to, at least for the time being, make that an option. We have done that, but I think the hardware manufacturers like Internet Explorer, and certainly they've told us they're gung-ho to continue to offer the Internet Explorer integrated into the product.
So where do we go from here?
Well, there'll be a set of, sort of legal back and forth. I think that's an important process because at the heart of the matter, we're talking about who does have the option to decide what goes into the Windows product. Around here, we ask, what will Windows 98 be? Will it be Windows 98, the product we think we need to do to respond to customers? Or is it going to be Windows DOJ, some product designed by the DOJ. I don't think that's
DOJ being
the
the
right
Department
thing.
of Justice.
I think we should put a product in the market and then let consumers choose either to upgrade or not as they see fit.
All right. There was also this note in this morning's papers that the Justice Department has hired David Boies, who was the counsel, among others, for IBM in a 13-year lawsuit that ended in IBM's favor, an antitrust suit. He has now been hired, a top-level litigator, by the Department of Justice, suggesting that they are planning a full and expanded scale of legal action against Microsoft. How does that make you feel?
I don't know how it makes me feel or not feel. I don't know the man and I don't know the issue. I only know this issue. I know that we as a company are trying to do our very best work to have our hardworking people do innovative software, to add value to Windows. And if that's not the right thing for us, for customers, for the American software industry, that would be a weird perturbation in the law.
But do you have a sense that on this matter of pursuing antitrust vigorously, the Department of Justice has Microsoft in its crosshairs?
Well, it's clear the antitrust department is interested in us. They've been
more than interested if they go hire one of the top flight
looking at documents for a number of years. Whether this represents some new level, it's hard for me to tell. Certainly, we've been investigated now for a long time without much action. I'm not sure what this really means.
Well, the Washington Post this morning suggested that it suggests an eagerness to prevail in a high-stakes fight.
That could well be. I know that we need to also vigorously defend our right to add value to Windows, to innovate, to make sure customers get a good experience. That's the basis of good American innovation, and we're certainly going to stand up for our and every other American technology company's right to do that, even if the Justice Department is settling in for the long haul.
Okay, my last question. As you look at this situation today, having been, your lawyer has been in court this morning, you are facing a situation which you continue to maintain your argument that the Internet Explorer is an integrated part of Windows 95 that you are selling to computer manufacturers like Compaq, Dell, and the others, right?
Correct.
However, you are saying, because of the DOJ's action, antitrust action, that if you take it out, you end up with a Windows 95 that is an inferior operating system to what you get otherwise.
That's correct. If we remove the Internet Explorer the way the judge asked us to, you get the product. Now, the judge could have asked us to do 66 things because I don't really know what are his design principles when he looks at this thing. But he gave us a very explicit order, and if you do what he said, not remove 3% the way Netscape suggests and you get rid of the icon, because you could do that. That's not what the judge ordered us to do. He didn't say take out this piece or that piece. He told us to remove the Internet Explorer files as represented in a certain way, and we had to follow that order.
And you've complied with that order as far as you're concerned?
I think if we were to do the other, if we were to only remove the 3% of the files, which perhaps his technician did, then we would be in violation of his order, and we certainly didn't want to take that risk.
Steve Ballmer, Executive Vice President of Microsoft, thank you for coming on at the last moment to bring us up to date on where this conflict stands.
My pleasure. Thanks, Charlie.
See you soon.